on a number of topics in front of reporters. I mean, boy, oh boy, that was a lot. Touching on everything from the whistleblower to the news conference that Adam Schiff and Nancy Pelosi had shortly before this. I want to bring it out to the couch so that my friends here have something. What jumped out at you the most? There was a lot of, I heard about the perfect conversation many times.
Right. You heard about that. You heard about the attacks on the media. I think there is a phrase that you're going to hear a lot of from the president. We already have, but who are you going to believe? You know that phrase? Who are you going to believe? You're going to believe a fake media, or you're going to believe me? You're going to believe the Democrats, or you're going to believe me? You're going to believe what is going around in the rumor mill inside the Beltway, or you're going to believe me and the transcripts that I released?
Did he say who are you going to believe?
He didn't. That's what I'm saying.
But
I think that's the phrase that would summarize what we just heard. And, focusing on the Washington Post ain't bad because, remember, they've been caught several times with news that didn't turn out to be true, like the DNI, Mr. McGuire, that he was going to resign as a result of this conversation. Of course, McGuire himself said that was absolutely not true. And a number of stories that just in the past week that have turned out not to be true. The Australian ambassador and stuff that was wrong in that New York Times story that came out over the weekend. So, again, it's who are you going to believe, them or me? I think that's sort of the Trumpian way right now.
I want to kind of add on to what you said there, David. And what stood out to me, and there's a whole host of things, but he said he was proud that he coined the phrase fake news media and now wants to turn it into the corrupt news media as the moniker. And as we've gotten used to President Trump, giving everyone names and creating. What I found here is that this was emblematic of the fact that the country is losing faith in its institutions, losing faith in its government, losing faith in the fourth estate, being the press, because it is this concept of who you're going to believe, us versus them. And President Trump is contributing to the questions that people have about the credibility of institutions.
I got to stop you right there because he points out a lot of reports that have been printed that were not true. And if you look at, I've heard Dana Perino talk about the fact that something would come out that was patently not true, and they would push back, but there was never a retraction. The New York Times never came out and took things back.
I think that's a lot of that is really desperation of trying to break news in this news cycle too.
Okay, but whatever, it's not being fast, it's being correct. So when you print things that aren't true, and later, and Jillian, let me ask you.
Speaker
okay,
Pelosi,
hang on.
I did not say it was a great conversation either.
Everybody in here. So when he said that was a word-for-word transcript, that jumped out at me because you are someone who knows very closely how these things are done.
So different takes here. The ground truth, the bottom, sort of the common denominator here is that several transcribers from the Situation Room listened in on this call too in this scenario and wrote down what they heard in real time as the president and as Zelensky were saying it. They maybe didn't capture every and ah and every repeat of a phrase, but their job is to capture the substance of what is said for policy purposes, right? So it's not as everybody is jumping to point out, it's not a verbatim transcript, but it's as close
but it's not
to
a summary
verbatim.
Either.
It's not a summary either, and it's as close to a verbatim transcript as we are likely to see. The White House has not confirmed what some in the media are reporting, which is that there are these new AI programs they're using to kind of audio record. Sources that I've spoken to have all shot that down. It's up to the White House if they are doing that now and they're going to put that out there. I don't know. That was not the case in the Bush administration, the W. Bush administration, or the Obama administration. White House, called a moratorium on recording any presidential phone calls after the Watergate scandal.
Overall, tone, very, very angry, very feisty.
Very angry, very feisty.
Poor Finland there didn't get a word in edgewise. Gotta love that.
Yeah, we were talking about that before. If you're a foreign leader at one of these things, it's kind of tough. But
you
no,
don't get to discuss any of your issues that you came here to talk about with the president.
I know. But my sense is he feels like he's winning. He feels like he's winning.
You think?
I think he believes that he's got the jump on the media, that he's got the jump on the Democrats by releasing the information that he has to show discrepancies and so forth. That's just my sense here. Now, we were talking about his speech at the UN, which was very low-key, and then he gave a presser after that on a Wednesday, and he did seem to be down. I think he's regained his energy somewhat.
I regained his energy. I mean, he seemed angry. I would say defensive as well, but I don't know. I mean, that's it's all in the eye of the beholder, how you see that. You can't get inside the president's head on these things. What do you think? So at the end, though, he's spending a lot of time on a book that's coming out that claims that he said something about the moat
snakes and moats and alligators.
Right.
With regard to the border.
And the whole thing that he said a comms team came to him and he didn't have anything to say about that. I mean, it does keep going down this line of things that, I mean, you talk about discrediting the institutions and you wonder how much the institutions are discrediting themselves.
Look, I'm not going to sit here and defend the media writ large. I mean, they certainly have issues, too. But, I mean, this is the president of the United States who is saying things about, blank straps in the Oval Office and giving, nicknames to members of Congress. I mean, this is unbecoming behavior that is distracting from the governing of our nation. Now, I've been critical of the Democrats for stirring the pot, too.
Yeah, everybody's doing it now.
Enough is enough.
I think that the plastic wrap has been ripped off the presidency and everything else. I mean, we know that everybody's gone to this level where they're sort of slinging the mud and saying the names and all these kind of things.
There was one important moment of sort of statesmanship and diplomacy in this press conference right now, which is when the president looked at the president of Finland and said, thanks to Ukraine for agreeing to let us release this transcript in the first place. And that was actually incredibly important because as somebody who cares about these national security issues, I've watched all this, very worried that this is going to become the norm and foreign leaders will not be candid with President Trump.
You think that's going to happen?
So I think it's very important to make it very clear if we're going to do this, it's going to be by mutual agreement.
Yeah, that's a good point. And to your point, he did end on enemy of the people. So there you go.
Right.
Great.
Anyway, thank you to David Asman.
Thank you very much. Always exciting to have